Welcome to my World History Notes, where I read from the book I wrote to teach homeschoolers world history. A Bible Believer Looks at World History, which you can find on Lulu.com, Amazon.com, at the Bible Baptist Bookstore, or just follow me here. We're into the World War II section or sessions now, and I'm going to continue what I was talking about on the 20th when I first posted, last posted. So, the events of May 1940 were concluded with the German victory. Germans now regrouped for the conquest of France. In June, panzers smashed through the French 10th Army and forced the surrender of one of the few British units that had been left in France. The French 4th Army put up a huge fight, but was no match for the Germans. The French government abandoned Paris and moved to Bordeaux. The Germans took Paris in the middle of June. On June 10th, just before that, the hesitant Mussolini, realizing that France could not win, declared war and ordered an invasion of southern France. So now Italy was in the war. The French armies disintegrated in June of 1940 and after, rejecting an offer by Churchill's government to unite France and Britain as one country to continue the fight, quote, forever if necessary. France surrendered three-fifths of its territory to German control, and all French troops within that territory were disarmed, with the armistice being signed by Hitler in the railway car in Compiègne Forest, where the Germans had surrendered in 1917, 1918. Marshal Pétain became the prime minister of what was to be called Vichy France, collaborating with the German government. In the south of France, however, 6 French divisions made a stand against 32 Italian divisions and threw back the three-pronged invasion attempt. In June 1940, Britain stood alone against Hitler. The British Empire was now facing the Rome-Berlin Axis powers. The Atlantic sea lanes, which had practically been Britain's private property on which she permitted others to sail for over a century and a half, were now menaced by German submarines, and the Mediterranean lifeline by the Italian Navy, and with the Soviet Russia as the enemy's silent partner. There was also danger that Hitler would seize the French fleet, tipping the balance clearly into the German side on sea power. Germany needed France's navy intact, as their top admiral had even stated that the German navy would not be ready for such a war for several more years. Britain was so battered and so unready for war that many thought that Churchill would have to sue for peace. According to the historians I read, this terrified FDR. The idea that the German Navy could one day include the mighty British Navy as its auxiliary was unthinkable. Hitler assumed that Churchill would want peace, and he made openings for a negotiated settlement with Great Britain. Churchill wasn't interested, however. Almost immediately, de Gaulle, the tank commander, who had fled to England after a short stint in the brief government that preceded Petain's collaborationist administration, called on, quote, true Frenchmen everywhere to rally and fight for a free France. Underestimating the charisma and leadership of de Gaulle, the governments of Britain and the U.S. did not take him too seriously at first, but as a flood of French officers and soldiers from around the world signed on, it became clear he was a force to be reckoned with. He organized the best men he had into the French colonial territories and even into a free French navy. In response to Churchill's urgent request and FDR's concern about Britain capitulating to Germany, the U.S. sold a large shipment of small arms, machine guns, light artillery, and ammunition to England. Many in America opposed any interference into the European conflict, including selling arms we might need in some future threat. Many did not believe that Hitler posed any great threat to the Western Hemisphere. The British Navy in July of 1940 defeated French Navy forces at Oran, Algeria, sinking several ships and capturing others there in other ports. The action embittered many Frenchmen, and Petain's Vichy government severed diplomatic relations with Britain. On September 27, 1940, the Rome-Berlin-Tokyo Axis Pact was signed, pledging each other total aid for 10 years. Japan was not required, however, to attack Britain or Britain's allies. Hitler decided, since Britain would not surrender, that he must invade the Isles. Against the recommendation of his army and navy chiefs, but with Goering's Luftwaffe's enthusiastic support, he devised Operation Sea Lion for the purpose of invading England. According to the books, the JG-26 War Diaries by Donald Caldwell, Goering's campaign of neutralizing the RAF by attacking its bases and shooting down its planes was working, and slowly the defense of Britain was being made impossible. However, the decision to bomb cities galvanized the resolve of the British people and made their defensive attitude stronger. Germany and the occupied countries were being scoured for landing craft. Now, we're going to talk about that, what happened with Goering's Luftwaffe over the Great Britain, and some things that happened there, and then go on to the Battle of the Atlantic next. So thank you for listening, and I hope that you'll study world history, whether you agree with me or not, or think I missed something or misstated something, like I said, 1917 for 1918. If you hear something or see something you think is wrong, let me know. So I'm always studying and learning, and there's so much more to do, and go over and do again. So thank you. Take care.